Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Daybreak Plus. I'm Rob Evans. We are breaking down all the stories you may have missed overnight, and then we're digging deep into what really matters to you. And we start with politics. And several of our state's biggest Republicans, including Governor Greg Abbott, are continuing to push to pass the legislation they call school choice. Of course, we've been talking about this forever now. It would allow families to use tax dollars to help send their kids to private schools. Now, Texas's plan is kind of like what Arizona has, and that's why Arizona's former governor, Doug Ducey, you just saw right there, joined Texas Republicans to push for school choice. Now, Ducey signed one of the nation's first universal education savings accounts bills into law, and now it's the governor's top priority this legislative session. Here's what Governor Abbott had to say about it.
That when it comes to education, it's not one or the other. It's not either public schools or school choice. We can do both at the very same time. We're going to fully fund public education while at the same time ensure that parents and children are going to have the opportunity to find the school that's best for them.
Questions about our...
Now, we also talked to Taylor Carricker-Caven. She's a fifth grade math teacher in Austin, and she pointed out issues with the Arizona school choice program. Take a listen.
The absolute ballooning of their voucher program has caused them to have cuts in important sectors like water and community colleges and even closing public schools.
Now, when asked about that deficit, former Arizona Governor Doug Ducey said he left office in 2023 with a $2.5 billion surplus and blamed any current budget challenges on irresponsible spending by the current governor. So how well are ESAs really working in Arizona? So for perspective, political director Ashley Godot talked to Joe Dana, an investigative reporter with our news partners in Phoenix, Arizona. And he says, as state leaders there spend more money on ESAs, public schools are struggling. Listen.
And what our data shows is that about 90% of ESA recipients are at a religious private school, and most of new ESA recipients were already in the private system, which means it represents a brand new cost to our state budget, which is about more than $300 million we saw last year alone in terms of an added cost to the budget. And the concern here, the frustration among many education advocates is Arizona is chronically underfunding its school districts. We're one of the worst, if not the worst in the nation. Districts are closing campuses down in parts of the state. Meanwhile, we continue to add to the ESA budget.
Because you said something about...
Now, if you'd like to see the rest of the interview, you can find it right now on our website, KVUE.com. Politics on a national level right now. President Donald Trump has signed a new executive order. It is going to completely overhaul elections here in the U.S. So this order requires proof of citizenship to register to vote in federal elections, and all ballots be received by Election Day across the country. It also calls on states to share voter lists with federal agencies and to work with them to prosecute election crimes. Now, the president threatened to pull funding from any states whose elections officials didn't comply. Voting rights groups, of course, expected to file lawsuits challenging the order. The president defending, though, also, on a separate note there, the president is defending this morning his top national security officials after the lapse happening in national security. Officials reportedly talked about classified U.S. war plans in Yemen over an unauthorized messaging app, and a journalist was accidentally added to the chat. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details.
This morning, questions are mounting over how a journalist with The Atlantic was added to a group chat with top national security officials ahead of the U.S. attack in Yemen, and why discussions about that chat were happening on the unauthorized messaging app Signal. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg says National Security Advisor Mike Waltz invited him to the group chat. President Trump standing by Waltz's side.
He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth denies his role in the chat put American troops at risk.
Nobody's texting more plans. I know exactly what I'm doing.
The administration instead has repeatedly attacked Goldberg and The Atlantic, claiming it did not share classified information. Goldberg says he withheld publishing certain messages reportedly from headsets sharing operational details, including precise information about weapons, targets, and timing.
Just because they're irresponsible with material doesn't mean that I'm going to be irresponsible with this material.
Democrats in Congress hammering the administration.
Where our pilots are going to be and when they're going to be there ahead of the operation. If they think that information isn't classified, then they are way crazy incompetent to do the job that they're supposed to be doing.
This sloppiness, this incompetence, this disrespect for our intelligence agencies and the personnel who work for them is entirely unacceptable. It's an embarrassment.
Several Republicans are also calling for more information.
I just want the administration and the individuals involved to be accountable and take blame or responsibility for the mistakes they made.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe were both on the group chat and are expected to be back on Capitol Hill today for a hearing with House members. They met with senators yesterday. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
It's 7:07. Taking a look at weather and traffic now. Grace, how's it looking?
Hi, good morning, Rob. Happy Wednesday. It's actually looking kind of cool. Look out there. We've got a lot of moisture out there, low level moisture that is. And then of course we've got some areas of dry sky too with a nice sunrise behind it. Our temperatures are very warm for this morning. 64 at the airport and 68 degrees over at Camp Mabry. That humidity is not joking around today, 93%. Temperatures across the area, we're dipping down to the lower 60s rather for Llano, 63 there and 64 for both Mason and Fredericksburg, but we are also just behind about 70 degrees for areas like LaGrange, Luling, and over towards College Station as well. That relative humidity at 100% for some of those southern neighborhoods, especially down towards San Marcos and Blanco and Bastrop. So our wind speeds coming in from the south and east today, that's what's pumping in a lot of that moisture, but also moisture is coming in from the other side of the state as well. So it's all kind of coming together and making for this very moist morning. Our visibility issues, not too bad. We're not seeing any dense fog here in the metro, but as you head out towards College Station and areas like Houston, you may run into a little bit of minor visibility issues. Today, or at least for this morning, it's mostly going to be that cloud cover out there that's giving you maybe an issue if you miss that sunshine out there. We've got that moisture again streaming in from northern Mexico today, and we also do have some kind of more random showers and thunderstorms over Dallas this morning that may be giving them some rumbles of thunder to wake up to. Now for today, we're mostly featuring dry conditions. There's going to be some instances of patchy drizzle out there throughout the morning and even the early afternoon. It won't be until later tonight as you make your way home from work that we'll be watching that south end of our region for some moisture. Now, we are going to be watching the bulk of the moisture move past us over South Texas. But of course, some of that moisture is going to be kind of thrown up here as it does so. So that's where we see our showers and storm chances as we head towards 6 p.m. This goes until midnight, overnight tonight, and even lasting until 6 a.m. on Thursday. Now, throughout our Thursday and our Friday, we'll be dealing with on and off showers and potential for some isolated thunderstorms too. This could lead us to some big rainfall totals that we've needed for some time here in Central Texas. So anywhere between 1 to 2 to maybe even 3 inches as we head towards Friday night, and then we'll be drying out for our weekend. Now we do have some additional marginal flood outlooks for both our Wednesday and our Thursday. This is mostly going to be featured towards that south and east end, but it does include Travis County for our Thursday, as we are expected to get kind of the most scattered and widespread rainfall for that day. For today, our strong to severe risk is going to be maintained south of Austin, over towards the Del Rio area and south of that as well. We don't have a strong to severe risk for today, but we do have it for tomorrow. That marginal risk there in the green enters our southern regions all the way from Fayette County out towards Gillespie County for tomorrow. So be aware that some of those storms that may be featured for tomorrow afternoon could become a little bit strong. So you want to be weather aware as we head through the next 48 hours or so. Drying out for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday looking really nice, even a bit hot for our Sunday and then cooling things down for next week. All right, let's get a check on some of our traffic this morning. I'm actually going to take a walk over to the computer so I can show you exactly what's going on. Buda is the slowest spot on the map. Manor at 30 miles per hour. And then we also have Round Rock too. Taking a look at those live text.cams, things are moving along pretty nicely. I-35 southbound at Taft Lane again is going to be that kind of issue there. Let's kind of zoom in because we do have one crash down to the south edge of town. This is going to be East Riverside Drive. Doesn't look to be causing too many issues for the current moment, and that's also at Grove Boulevard. And then spanning out a little bit, of course, if you are coming in from Buda, Onion Creek, we do have a stalled vehicle right around the Onion Creek area. And as you head your way towards the city, things are quite stop and go as you head towards 290 there, or 71 rather. We also have these areas in the yellow. You can see those little cars there. That's actually some debris in the roadways. So make sure that you are traffic aware this morning, as you may run into a couple of those things. All right, back to you, Rob. Are you excited for the rain?
I am excited for the rain. I'm also excited for this next announcement here. Officially a new head basketball coach at the University of Texas. There he is right there. UT officially introducing Sean Miller yesterday. We told you he was expected to be the new head coach, and we talked about his program, and he talked about it too, including his recruiting strategy, his desire to play at a faster pace, and how coming up just short of a championship run in the past is going to fuel his future run. He said coaching the Longhorns is a life-changing opportunity. Take a listen.
And I'm looking forward to uniting with the resources and this amazing institution in place here at the University of Texas and breaking through, not once, but multiple times, competing for SEC championships and being a perennial great program.
Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte said that Miller's contract terms won't be released until they go to the school's Board of Regents for approval. Now, the Texas men's NCAA tournament run is over. Yeah, we get that. So is your bracket, all your brackets. Every registered bracket has already been busted. According to Yahoo and CBS Sports, brackets busted after Florida beat UConn, Duke won over Baylor, and Kentucky beat Illinois. No more perfect brackets, but don't feel bad. According to the NCAA, the odds of picking a perfect bracket, 1 in 9 quintillion. Speaking of Quinn, hey, Texas football players looking to go pro got a chance to show off their skills to NFL scouts right there at Quinn. The team hosting, 21 players taking part. Quarterback Quinn Ewers, who threw several deep, impressive balls, but that's not one right there. We keep seeing this one on social media. It's like a duck. Quack, quack. But it does show you how strong he is. You can throw that deep with a duck, right? That's pretty impressive. And then there's running back, Jaden Blue, who also performed well, ran a 4.28 40-yard dash. That's a tenth of a second faster than his time at the NFL Combine. He had a torn groin at the Combine, by the way, and now he's healthier and faster. Here's what he had to say.
For me, I just, wanted to be able to get a chance to run on the big stage because that's just something I don't take for granted because there's 1,000 million other people guys that wish they can be on that stage. So, I just wanted to be able to showcase what I can do on that big stage.
Could you imagine running a 4.3 with a torn groin? What? All right, the first round of the NFL draft, by the way, set for April 24th in Green Bay. All right, it's time for some of Austin's favorite pools to get a spring clean. They need it, right? So we get it. Deep Eddy Pool in downtown will close this Saturday. It's going to be closed for 3 weeks. Parks and Rec staff will clean and do some maintenance until April 18th. Well, that gets you down. This might, get you excited. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are coming to Austin. They're taking their hit Netflix show on the road. America's Sweetheart's going to perform at venues across the state, giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at the auditions. And if you're there and you get to watch solo auditions, you have a chance to send candidates to the final round as well. The squad will make a stop in Austin Tuesday, May 27th at the Paramount Theater. Now, there are tickets available. They are pre-sale tickets. They start at 10 o'clock this morning, and tickets go on sale to the public this Friday. Here's a talker for you. So we all know, and apparently we don't all know this, but we should all know, the left lane when you're driving is the passing lane, right? Not the driving lane. You drive the speed limit in the right lane. You drive below the speed limit in the right lane. Move over, people. Well, one Louisiana state lawmaker has had enough. He filed a bill that could actually throw these people, slow drivers, behind bars. It could happen. Senate Bill 11. Anyone traveling in the left lane below the posted speed limit would face a $150 fine. If you're caught doing it again within a year, it goes to $250. Do it again, it's $350. Do it again, you go to jail. That's what I'm talking about. This bill is being considered in the committee. Right now, the current law just suggests a minimum fine of $100 for going 10 miles under the posted speed limit in the left lane. But y'all, listen, the left lane is not the driving lane. Please go to the right. Thank you. Well, earlier this week, we celebrated National Medal of Honor Day, a very special honor for the elite class of heroes. More than 40 million people have served in the U.S. military, but very few, a tiny fraction of a fraction, have ever had the Medal of Honor. ABC's Danny New has the details on this museum that just opened yesterday in North Texas, telling their stories.
America owes you a debt of gratitude, son.
You may remember in Forrest Gump when Forrest is awarded America's highest military decoration on the battlefield, the Medal of Honor. Well, today, on National Medal of Honor Day, a museum officially opens in Arlington, Texas to honor the fewer than 4,000 heroes who have received this distinction in real life.
We're very proud to honor them in this new museum.
Museum President Chris Cassidy here is a retired astronaut who served in the Navy until 2021, when he says he hung up his uniform and immediately joined this project.
The President of the United States meets so many extraordinary individuals.
Right around that time, a bipartisan effort, including former presidents, began to fundraise to open this national institution that could tell the stories of those who have received this medal awarded by Congress and presented by the president. Now, if you've ever received one...
That was one of those moments where I don't remember a whole lot. It was a big whirlwind.
Retired Army Staff Sergeant Clint Romachet received his Medal of Honor from President Obama in 2013, 4 years after saving many of his comrades' lives during an ambush in Afghanistan.
You're looking at someone who understands the meaning of sacrifice.
Groundbreaking for the museum began in 2022 with President George W. Bush in attendance. Then began the construction of the 4 pillars holding it up in honor of the 4 military branches that have received the medal. As it opens today, the museum spans more than 100,000 square feet, but this section right here is the part that Chris says gives him chills. It's a 360-degree theater honoring the 61 Medal of Honor recipients who are still alive today.
They, in that circumstances, took an unbelievable action.
All veterans have free admission at the museum this whole first week. And by the way, the first Medals of Honor were presented during the Civil War in 1863. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Now, I get the honor to interview a lot of people in this career. It's a great honor. But one of the greatest was me getting to sit down one-on-one with retired Army Sergeant Clint Romachet, who you just heard from a little bit right there. We sat down and had an in-depth conversation about what this, not the medal, but what this museum means to him, what it means to his kids, because they had no idea what was going on, right? And what his kids really think about Dad. Take a listen.
You know, it's great to see this come together here in Arlington, Texas, and have the museum not just sharing my story, but all the recipients' story, to highlight what that extraordinary service to country looks like, but really to highlight that just ordinary individuals being put in situations and doing extraordinary things. Every American is capable of that. Deep down in our soul, that's what's in our DNA. When things get tough, Americans always rise to the occasion. And the museum highlights that with all the stories of the 3,600 recipients of the Medal of Honor, the 61 living. We'll rotate through, you gotta come and see and be part of this experience.
You talk about every American has this in them, but I can't imagine your situation. We don't have time for the whole thing, but in Afghanistan in 2009, surrounded, ambushed on all 4 sides, badly wounded, and yet you still fought to keep your outpost with your soldiers. How did you keep your cool, though, in the moment where especially you were hit by an RPG, right?
You know, it's one of those situations where you never think you'll be in until you find yourself in it. And the one thing with military service is you never do anything alone. You always have your battle buddies to your left and right. That day, I had 52 other great Americans right alongside me. 8 of them gave up their lives so I could come home. And like I said, everything I did that day, I wasn't thinking about getting hurt or dying, or it was what was happening to everybody else. And it's weird to kind of put it in this concept. You look at how the odds were stacked against us. Taliban had 400 fighters, overran our perimeter, you know, and we came out on top that day because the enemy hated us and they just wanted to kill us because they hate what we stand for. We didn't fight back because we hated them. We loved each other so much, and it was that motivational love for your brothers to your left and right that helped us be triumphant that day.
I would love to talk more about your story, but we have to talk about this building right here. And do you have kids? I know. Do your kids have any idea what you did? Because before they were born. You're going to bring them in now. Do they have any idea what Dad was about?
You know, as they're getting older, they're starting to realize it a little more. But still, at the end of the day, Dad's still the guy that takes out the trash and shovels the snow, helps them with homework. And it's really a blessing to see that, you know, they understand what I did, but they also humble you and tease me. It's like, why do people want your autograph? Don't they know your handwriting is horrible, Dad? So it's always a blessing to have your kids kind of bring you and ground you back to earth. But to be able to walk through these halls and show them this amazing museum, I want to share everybody else's story, and I hope they get to see those.
Talk a little bit about the actual museum itself. We're seeing pictures right now. It's gorgeous. But you said how many people's stories are in this museum?
They've got right now about 300 on display that will be rotated out kind of as time goes by. It's really interesting how interactive things are and how you feel, you know, it come to life, and you feel the weight of the sacrifice, and you see all those just simple little things that you didn't think. You know, my FFA jacket is hanging up here. You know, I hadn't seen that thing in years. But for me, growing up, that was a big part of my life, growing up ranching and farming. Be able to show the next generation, look, we come from all different walks of life. The design of this thing, how it's setting on these 5 pillars for each branch of service, the weight that it has to bear really symbolizes what we're doing in this country and gives a nod back to all those men and women that have worn that uniform. And every American that's being more of a citizen, giving back to their country and not taking from it.
And a special thank you again to Medal of Honor recipient Clint Romeshay, retired sergeant in the U.S. Army. And again, this is in Arlington. The National Medal of Honor Museum opened yesterday. Get on up there and take a look. It looks absolutely incredible. Well, we leave you now with something to talk about. A bit of a disruption in the sky when a plane bound to China, United flight, it's a big plane, right, had to turn around. I mean, you know, there are issues, weather, things like that, but this is not that. This is because a pilot of this big old 787 forgot their passport. Yeah, a big old 787 from LA to Shanghai last week had to bust a U-turn after several hours into the flight. The pilot said, oh no, I got to go back. I don't have a passport. According to FlightAware, the flight left LAX about 2 o'clock on Saturday. 2 hours later, the plane turned around. Well, it was redirected, though, to San Francisco. It landed around 5 o'clock. Then passengers had to wait for a new crew. They were able to take off again about 9 that night. They eventually landed in Shanghai, but they were 6 hours behind schedule. Okay, I know I said one last thing, but here's another one, travel-related, right? Travel delay. In Houston, look at this. Cattle causing quite a problem on the highway. 31 steers on their way home from Rodeo, Houston. A gate unlatched on the trailer. 6 of them got loose on I-45. And it took, I mean, look at this. It looks like this is crazy. It took hours for them to all get round up. It caused a big old backup on the highway right there. Look at all the cars stopping. And those things will mess your car up, right? I mean, you don't want to stop them. You don't want to get in the way of them. They can hurt you. Just out for a good old ride. But the rodeo is over, at least in Houston. But hey, the one in Austin is still going on. Go check them out. That is it for our Daybreak Plus. Let us know what you want to talk about. Message us at 512-459-9442. 512-459-9442. You can also message me on socials at Rob Evans TV, Instagram, Facebook, or X. And stick around because Daybreak continues right here on KVUE Plus. Goodbye, everybody.